Hey, thanks for stopping by Minnesota Black Robe Regiment. As always, make sure you're subscribed. You can either click the little white banner that's on the video here on YouTube, or you can go down to the subscribe button. Make sure you're checking out the bell icon for notifications. Like, comment, and share. I want to start off the video today by retracting something that I said about the Albert Lea School District, and that I thought they wouldn't put out the totality of their video from the July 19th, 2021 meeting because of how bad it would make them look. So to their credit, I want them to know that I respect their decision to put it out, even though it makes them look really bad. So I'll give them that kind of credit. But coming at it now after the fiasco that was the opening of the meeting, I would like to I want to go through and I want to address a couple of things, and then we're going to take a look at something. The reason why, and we know this, okay, so this is for Clot, whatever his name is, and Funk. The reason why you had that prepared sheet for sign up when you haven't in recent past, I mean, outside of the fact that there haven't been that many in-person school board meetings for the last whatever, the reason why you had the prepared sign up sheet there was because you knew you were going to be meeting resistance on Monday night. And we know that you don't like resistance. It's very clear. And it's even more clear that Funk doesn't like resistance. The reason why you had that law enforcement officer in place was because you wanted the intimidation factor to be there. It's just a fact. It's a fact. No one there was posing a threat to you. And you had no reason to believe that anybody there was going to pose a threat to you. And no one had threatened you. No one. So unless there's something else going on that we're not privy to, which I hope is not the case, because I, for one, do not advocate for violence, and I do not advocate for people that I associate with using violence. I despise the initiation of force. I despise it. But I just heartily believe that the reason why that officer was there was because you knew you were going to have a larger attendance than you'd ever had before. And that's tragic, really, that your response to knowing you're going to have a large attendance was to bring in an armed, uniformed officer. Why? Why? What could possibly be your reason for that, Mr. Funk or Mr. Clot? Why? Because you don't want people to be comfortable. You don't want people to be comfortable. And here's the issue. You don't know how to handle it. You don't know how to handle pushback. And to establish when you clearly have many people who are there to be heard, and asking them to sign in and give their names and give their addresses, which, by the way, you're not allowed to do. You cannot make them state their names in public on video, especially. That is asinine, that you are making them give their addresses in video. And I've talked to Lisa Hanson about it. I mean, she's a pretty well-known figure in Albert Lea right now, but I've talked to Lisa about it and said, never again. Don't ever give your address in audio, on video, ever again. She's not required to do that. That's an intimidation tactic. But you want all of that in place to try and stifle people. And telling a taxpayer of the state of Minnesota that they can't have a say in your school board meeting because they don't, and they live in your district, it completely circumvents the reality that you get a large portion of your funding from the state of Minnesota, which gets its money from the taxpayers all over the state of Minnesota. So ostensibly, and in reality, anybody who pays taxes in the state of Minnesota gets to have a say in the education of the students in Minnesota by addressing school boards and talking about what it is you're doing and what you're going to do with the money and all that. Now, to the root of why everybody wanted to speak that day and why people were there, it had absolutely nothing to do with should we say wanting to discipline somebody, but it had everything to do with how a school board member was treated by the superintendent. And all that you would have needed to do, Mr. Clot, whatever, all you would have needed to do, Mr. Chair, was address and say, we are aware that some of you are upset with how one of the school board members was treated in the meeting from May. And we would like to speak to that issue now and offer as a board and as an administration, offer an apology for one, the intentional misrepresentation of the school board member's motion, for the public dressing down of the school board member by the superintendent, and a personal apology from the superintendent to the school board member is forthcoming in this meeting. And we're willing to hear you out. And because of that, we're going to open up the meeting to more than 10 minutes of conversation. And that's going to happen now during public comments. We're going to let anybody who would like to speak to this issue or any other issue that they have concerns about, we're going to let them speak. And we're going to hear you out. But instead, Mr. Chair, you functionally silenced everybody by telling them what they could and could not do, and told them that they needed to follow different protocol for a complaint against a public servant. No one was asking you to discipline Mr. Funk there on the spot. People were there to vocalize their complaint to you as public servants about the treatment of another public servant by a public servant who answers to this public servant that they mistreated. Mr. Funk mistreated school board member Angie. He patently did. Absolutely did. You could have been the bigger person in all of this and stated that you knew why people were there, because I know for a fact you knew why people were there. Because I know for a fact that the reason why you made that statement was because you were aware of the video I did pointing out the mistreatment of school board member Angie. It's asinine that you would do that. But now we're gonna take a look at something here. All right, Mr. School Board Chair. What we're gonna do here is we're gonna start timing from the minute that Lisa starts speaking after she gives her address to you. Okay, that's what we're gonna do.
Good evening. My name is Lisa Hanson. I am a concerned citizen, mother, a grandma, and a business owner, residing in District 241 for more than 25 years. Recently, I viewed a school board video dated May 17th, 2021. While viewing this video, what I saw in part was very dysfunctional at best. I viewed the superintendent, Mr. Funk, who appears to have forgotten.
Okay, right here, she has spoke for about 40 seconds. Okay, so let's just 38.98 seconds. Mr. Chair, she's spoken for 38.98 seconds. How long does it take you to work this out with her?
Okay. Can I say superintendent? This is not a complaint.
I will continue to listen, but okay, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. Can I use the word the name Mr. Funk if it is just an observation?
As an observation, go ahead.
And I would ask the board to also consider the seconds that this has taken to.
I'll give you 10 more seconds.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, she spoke for 38 seconds. You interrupted her. You interrupted her. And this is a rough estimate, but it's 38 seconds that you let her speak before you interrupted her. So she spoke for 38. Then you interrupted her, and that exchange took 36.24 seconds, Mr. Clot. And then you gave her 10 seconds. You gave her 10 seconds. Okay, no, I'm a little upset again. Okay, you need to understand this. So we're gonna reset, keeping in mind that she's already spoke for 38 seconds. So, and you spoke for 36. So barely over a minute in, right? And you gave her 2 minutes, right? Now, how long is it going to take her to get interrupted by you again?
I view the superintendent, Mr. Funk, who appears to have forgotten who he works for. The subject matter was the request to increase the number of commencement tickets from 4 to 8. The request was presented by the people. I watched and listened as the superintendent and some of the board used every excuse in the book ad nauseum to not accommodate the people. Only 2 board members that I'm aware of seem to support the request. It was even stated by Mr. Funk that, quote, yeah, we could do it, but a board member is quoted to say, quote, I know they can do it.
10 seconds, Lisa.
Okay, right there, you told her she had 10 seconds left. She's spoken now for her second go for 45.52 seconds. So if you couple, let's just say 45 seconds and 38 seconds, that's nowhere near 2 minutes alone. And you're telling her she's got 10 seconds left? Sir, you're out of line. You're crazy. You're crazy. So let's see how long this goes.
I'm sorry?
10 more seconds. I gave them extra.
This is all in reference to the increase of tickets per family.
And we won't even take into account that you took about 10 more seconds telling her she had 10 seconds left and that you gave her more time.
Mr. Funk, as an appointed servant, belittled an elected servant, one of the people that you answered to, sir, who is speaking as a representative of the people.
2 minutes.
By,
Thank you for your
I'm sorry.
That wasn't 2 minutes. That was approximately 1 minute and 45 seconds. Total. When you cut her off, she had approximately 1 minute and 45 seconds. 1 minute and 45 seconds, Mr. Clot. So not only did you tell her how much time that she could have, not only did you tell her what she could and could not talk about, not only did you interrupt her, not only did you tell her she could have 10 seconds, which you took far more than 10 seconds, you took 36 seconds from her. You didn't even give her what you said you'd give her. Period. You didn't give her 10 seconds back. You did not give her time back. You didn't extend her time. In fact, you shorted her time. Period. You shorted her time. And here's why. Because right there in that moment, she called out Mr. Funk, public servant Mr. Funk, for his bad behavior. Again, and you didn't like it. You didn't like it. So you cut her off and said that her time was up. I've got it here. I'm looking at it. You didn't give her time. She didn't get all of her time, let alone the time back that you took from her. Well, I gave you about 35 more seconds. But we're going to go on because we're not quite done.
2 minutes.
Mr. Klatt,
Yeah,
you took quite a little bit of time with me discussing.
and I gave you an extra about 35 seconds at this point.
That's a lie. You didn't. You did not give her an extra 35 seconds. Straight out lie. Lie. It's a lie.
And I made that up for you. As you asked.
I am
made
one
that
of
up
the
for you.
public here, and I'm one of the
Okay.
people, and I would like to
And-
finish what I have to say.
And what we have is our open forum. That is the rules that we follow.
And
If
I
I
would
could
like
come to another-
I would like to have the.
And I want everybody to pay very close attention here because another school board member, Jill, from the last video, the first video that I did, is about to try and make a point of order or point of information. And watch what Clot does to her.
Opportunity to finish this.
Not tonight. Not tonight.
The people want to hear what
Lisa,
I have to say.
Please be seated. Thank you for your comments. I appreciate them.
I did not get to finish my comments, Mr.
Yeah,
Klatt.
No, you were over the 2-minute time limit, which I asked.
That was a lie.
That is in our meeting minutes, and so that's where we'll have to stop at. But thank you.
What I am calling for is I'm calling for the board
That's good. Thank you very
to
much.
act as elected
Okay.
officials and listen to the people.
Okay,
I want
bye.
I've never heard somebody so petulant as Clot. I've taken to calling him Catty Clot. Or Clot gets catty. I've never heard anybody like this. This is so petulant and so condescending. He's talking to her like she's a petulant child herself, and she's not. She's literally didn't get her full 2 minutes, even with an extension. She didn't get it. And now you're dressing her down. I mean, you and Funk work well together, don't you?
Lisa, that's enough. Thank you, Lisa.
That the superintendent
Thank you, Lisa. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. That's just one of the, it's been set for many years on how we run our open forum. I think I got Tom. Tom, you'd be next.
Point of information, it hasn't been many years. It was, I think during the calendar
Okay, Jill, thank you. This is
discussion.
open.
The school board members addressing another school board member and trying to make a point of information here. And the school board chair is cutting her off. He doesn't want her to talk. How dare she challenge his authority? I mean, Clot and Funk make a great team because they are really good at dressing down women. What is it about the city of Albert Lea and their treatment of women? A little hatred for outspoken women in Albert Lea. I mean, unless you're the right outspoken woman in Albert Lea. But clearly Lisa and Jill they're the wrong ones because they're not saying the right things.
I appreciate
As
it.
a
I'm not
point of
positive on the
information.
years it's been, but we have had this as our board policy for some time. I'm not positive how long. Okay? Okay. Tom.
Please keep all comments respectful.
Okay.
Please keep all comments respectful. Okay. Okay. No, I'm sorry. I don't know which one it said it. So if it's if it's Angie or Jill, I appreciate it. Okay. There again, we've talked about Tom. Nothing about what just took place was respectful. Nothing. We want all comments respectful. But see, here's the thing with respect. Respect isn't just bad words. Or disrespect isn't just bad words. Disrespect is not just when somebody uses a bad word to describe somebody. Certainly, it's an ad hominem logical fallacy. You can't discredit a person by pointing out that using calling them names. Okay, it's a form of the ad hominem logical fallacy. But whoever's like, please keep your comments respectful, should be turning that to the school board chair and should have turned that to the superintendent back in May and said, please be respectful to the school board. Please be the school board member. Please be respectful to the citizenry because what happened to Lisa was incredibly disrespectful. And the school board chair didn't like to be challenged. Didn't like it. So didn't like it at all. The interesting thing here is the reality that there was going to be no other discussion. And I know that at other times from talking to other people that the floor's been opened up to other conversation. He was done. He said it'd be 10 minutes. Things went south with Tom. Things went south with Jill daring to try and make a point of information, and he didn't like it, so he cut her off. Like, that's just asinine behavior. The actual disrespectful person in this situation was Clot. He lied, he obfuscated, and he treated Lisa with incredible disrespect. Sure, he might have had a tone in his voice that wasn't rude, but it was disrespectful. And here's one of the patent reasons why it was disrespectful. It was disrespectful because he works for Lisa Hanson. He works for her. He works for her, and he treated her like a petulant child, when in fact what he was doing was being petulant and disrespectful. This needs to be brought out and pointed out over and over and over again until more and more people take notice of how the school board chair and the superintendent work in conjunction with one another to silence dissent. That's all they need to do. They need to start packing the work sessions for the school board and the school board meetings. Packing them. They should get no time without direct observation, and there need to be demands for a longer than 10-minute public comment section. If that place gets packed out with 50, 60, 70 people, they need to be allowed to speak until you put a time limit on it, not a content limit, but you can put a time limit on it. But they need to be allowed to speak. And the people need to know how much money was spent. Was that officer a school resource officer? Was that officer, who paid for that? And why were they ordered to be there? Data practices acts requests need to be filed. And people in that city need to be filing them starting now. Lisa didn't get her 2 minutes. She didn't get her time back. And she was treated equally disrespectful. And it's clear that there is no respect for outspoken women in the city of Albert Lea, unless they take the right opinion, school board or anything else. Pass this around. Make sure people see it. Until next time, Sic Semper Tyrannis.